And I are here now, and we are talking about the cone because that's what everyone wants to see, but the big one is coming at 5 a.m.
At 5 a.m. we could be looking at a new track, and we're still waiting on this being upgraded to a hurricane.
Yes, and it's just there. I mean, we're talking about a difference of like 4 miles an hour here, and so they would up it to 75 for the sake of rounding. One thing overnight too, when we were going to bed last night, you know, it kind of was favoring the east side of the storm, east track of the cone yesterday, and it started to make that wobble back up to the west. What I think that we want to really at this point hone in on with people is that the impacts aren't changing all that much, even if we see a little bit of a wobble.
And this is something that we always stress. The cone of air is that. It is the cone of air for the center. But those impacts are not going to change too much, especially on the right side of the storm where pretty much all of the first coast is going to be in.
Right, that dirty side, which we've been talking about. And so why don't we go ahead and head on over to the green screen. We've got the track there full screen for you, but also we'll zoom on in because as it gets closer to home, it is going to be making landfall, expected still as a major hurricane early tomorrow morning. Now, if anything, the timing of the landfall may have backed up an hour or two. That's still not all that bad. When we're talking about forecasting a system like this, it's really tricky, lots of variables at play. So if we're talking about a landfall at 9 o'clock versus 7 o'clock, it might have a little bit of a delay in our heavier rain bands coming on shore, but still expect the pre-dawn time frame to about sunset before we can give that all clear. So as far as our big three, the cone closer to home, and we're on that dirty side like Robert said there. Wednesday morning we're going to experience our highest winds, but we can see some of those heavier rain bands begin to blow in from the south as early as this evening. Cat 2 gusts as far as inland is Lake City, so that I-75 corridor, we're talking about up to 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts, not sustained but wind gusts. Power outages, isolated tornadoes will be possible all the way to the Jax Metro, could even include areas closer to the coast as well. Out in Lake City right now, one of our hot spots that we're expecting some of our strongest wind gusts with this system. It's looking nice and quiet out there. You notice what was going through the sky in that time lapse? That nearly full moon. Not only are we dealing with higher than normal tides right now because of Franklin's swell and rip current risk and that onshore flow we've seen, but this is only going to enhance that, the supermoon, and then also what we're experiencing in the days ahead with Idalia. Columbia, Baker, Bradford, Union. Okay, so I just showed you that time lapse out in Lake City, but for the rest of you that are in that area of inland North Florida, think 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. Robert and I just updated these this morning, so this is your latest impact graphic for your area. Roof tree damage, power outages are going to be the big concern for us out this way because of those strong and intense winds. 4 to 8 inches of rainfall will be expected. Remember, thankfully, this is a fast mover, so we're really talking about the wind. We will have some pockets of heavy rain. Hopefully the flood threat is on the lower end of the scale, but there is a new flood watch out for the area this morning. 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for Duval County, gusts to 65 miles an hour, power outages, isolated tornadoes, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. Clay and Putnam County, gusts to 70, and we'll up it to 6 a.m. So just an hour earlier than what we'd expect in Duval County to about 4 p.m. And then out in Ware, Charlton, Brantley, Pierce counties, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So really sunrise to just before sunset out that way. 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for GLYNN, CAMDEN, NASSAU. And I know I'm going through all of this very quickly, but we do have these county by county graphics on our website and on that First Coast News app in those articles for you to go through and kind of dive in a bit. I want to mention in coastal southeast Georgia, we will have that storm surge threat as well, about 2 to 4 feet with tidal flooding. So one thing that we'll have to watch are those high tides on Wednesday morning, really beginning this evening. Thanks to that supermoon, we'll have that elevated tide. But tomorrow morning during the worst of our weather, we're looking at St. Mary's 9 o'clock, same with Fernandina, down toward Jax Beach and St. Augustine, more along the lines of 8:30 in the morning. So something on top of everything else to watch are those tide times because we'll see that tidal flooding. As we head through Wednesday, again, things taper off pretty quickly, and Thursday we're waking up to some northwest breezes and sunshine returning as we end off the week and head into the weekend.
Lauren, thank you.